What's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. Okay, happy Wednesday. I thought about what am I doing right now that's very different, novel, unique, and beneficial for the brands I work with, the companies that I'm associated with. And one of the quickest ones that came to mind was the fact that I use experimentation almost every single day across the board, whether it's with captions, whether it's with video styles, the gamma, right? So I decided, why not make quick um, a quick live about that, how you can, number one, why you should be experimenting, how to do it in a very micro way that has macro impact, and then some quick case studies on what I'm doing currently and how you can steal, and no steal, but borrow the techniques and hopefully start implementing this for yourself. Because again, these lives are great, but this is stuff I'm already doing. The benefit is, can I articulate in a manner that appeals to someone who's wanting to do what I'm talking about, and then give them the best tips, tools, and techniques to get that going. So let's get started. Why is it so important? Number one, you know as well as I do, what worked last year does not work this year, whether it's with platforms. For instance, I wasn't thinking about how to use TikTok in my overall content strategy last year, even beginning of this year. It took me a couple months of this year, I think it was March or April, for me to get really serious about the platform. So that wasn't in my content strategy at all. I experimented on it. I saw some amazing results. I started reading a lot of case studies about it, and I saw that other people were also having some great results on there. That's what inspired me to get serious about it. So that's why experimentation is important. It can not just influence the type of content, the places that you share that content, but it can really affect almost every avenue of it. For instance, I used to be a huge fan of the hyper produced, pieces of content, and over the last, I would say, 2 months, I've seen those type of pieces of content not do as well versus these type of content, the off the cuff, a little bit more raw type of styles. The only way I know that is because I've tested it. And this works across the board, whether it's with your website, with your content. This conversation, we're going to be focusing on the content specifically for social media. But yeah, let's get rocking and rolling. I see that we have a guest here. Hopefully she doesn't, I don't know where she's gonna go. There's my desk is an absolute mess. I've been filming a lot lately and doing a lot of product, uh, what is it? What's the word? Product demos and recordings around that. So my desk is absolutely a mess. But let's make some room for her. Excellent. So now you know why it's important. How do you start implementing this? The truth is, there's no right. No, hold on one sec. Got back here. There you go. There's no one right way to implement an experimentation strategy inside of your content strategy. You can, I mean, listen, we can spend all day talking about, using it just for social media, right? So I don't want to say it should be. Actually, what I'm going to say is it should be a game plan. Like there should be, in your overall content strategy, there should be a plan to execute and win on trying new things. And I'll be honest, I think out of the 100% of content that I produce, probably a good, 50% are around concepts, or I would say, let's say like 70% of the content that I put out is something I know that is going to resonate because I've tested it in the past, right? There are proven themes, proven videos, proven concepts. About 20% of them I'm I'm completely experimenting. Whether it's, I want to go back to the screen recorded text messaging ones, because those did really well. So I want to bring that back. That's re-experimenting. And 10% are the in between, where, okay, from the 20% that I've experimented with, let's refine that. Let's add a little bit more juice. Let's dedicate a little bit more time to it and see if that can incorporate into the 70%. And in that 70% of content that I know is going to win, there's some that win, or there's levels of winning, right? So a winning piece of content for me is probably different from a big, Fortune 500 company, or for someone who's getting started. So as that, I start phasing out concepts or ideas and kicking them back to experimentation to further refine them. So it should, I was wrong, it should be part of your strategy is, how do I introduce new themes, topics, mechanisms, mediums, whatever that is, into my strategy. Now, how do you do it? That's the ultimate, you know, uh, idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a theme. How do you experiment with different themes for your business, brand, and all that? I'm going to do an example about how to actually implement it for specific pieces of content. And then if you guys have any questions about how to, further integrate that, I'm here. I'm here to answer those questions. So let's start with the theme. I have this concept called buckets where you bucket your themes into certain avenues. So for myself, for my personal brand, I have, marketing, specifically social media, but marketing. I have business, I have personal development, and then I have my journey. Those are my four buckets, and every single piece of content that I create either indirectly or directly falls in those, or is a mixture between those. But I don't really go into much. That's why you don't really see me talking about, like politics, for instance, because that's not my bucket. That I don't, that's not something I talk about. I don't talk about global warming. I don't talk about, even though I have a nutrition degree, I don't talk about health because there's through experimentation, I've deemed that, number one, to get to where I want to get to and be the social media guy, that's not the route I want to take. And I don't want to dilute my brand. Number two, my audience doesn't really see me as an authority in those other spaces. So why would they dedicate the time to listen to me about that? Again, when you're dealing with people on social, you have microseconds to make an impact. And then once you have the impact, there's a continuous, I wouldn't say fight, but it's a continuous journey to cultivate that relationship with the individual or person or brand or whatnot. So how did I get to those themes? Well, when I first started on social, I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. I knew I wanted to talk. I knew I had something of value. I didn't know what my audience specifically saw me as a valuable resource as. And it took me a while. I went from everything from talking, 'cause I dabble in investing and real estate and influencer marketing. I dabbled in a lot of different concepts and I would test them, right? So I would I basically do the three approach where I would pick a theme. Let's say it was, I'm still really passionate about influencer marketing, but again, I'm not the foregone expert in that. So I tested out how my content with influencer marketing would go. And it's funny, I feel like I need to get better at this. For anyone who is looking for influencer marketing, I'm going to just link up my friend Tammy. So she's the one that if you want influencer marketing, you go to, right? So she has the authority in influencer marketing, right? So I didn't have that, but I tested it. I thought, if my audience wanted to know more about influencer marketing and I, along the journey, am picking up these little nuggets of it, then it makes sense for me to share it, right? Still passionate about it, but I deemed that my audience didn't see me as the influencer social media guy. They like me, and I presume after testing as much as I have that I have a following for making marketing simple. That's my tagline. Like that's what I want to do. Today it's social media, but eventually we'll get to something else. I digress. But after taking, in the beginning it would be months of testing different concepts. To be honest, I've been creating content since October 2018, like every single day. And it wasn't until the beginning of 2020 that I felt comfortable. So about a year and some change on the themes I wanted to talk about. It took me a while to get to that point. Plus, then I was figuring out how my content plays into Boundless, my business, and it takes work. That's the truth. It just takes a lot of work. So that's what I did. That's where the journey started happening. So that's how I tested themes for your business, for your organization. There's so much you can do. You can do you can talk. I've seen companies talk great about Office Dynamics and use that as marketing. Might be a little harder right now because of COVID, but you could probably still do something. That could be a theme. Is like culture. Culture could be a theme, and maybe you and your organization have an extraordinary culture, and you want to talk about how you cultivated that, and gear that towards recruitment. possibly that you want to do something around, how the product's made. I've seen a lot of successful brands in the product space talk about how things get made. So if you're making a book, for instance, right, like you're making a book, go in like how you source the material, how you find the authors, how the process, like the process of that. I think most businesses don't talk about their process more than I think businesses should talk about their process. If I'm investigating something, maybe I really care about how the book is made, and and there's a whole strategy behind that. Maybe it's about the leadership. Maybe talking about leadership. If you're a very influential leader in the space that has a lot of credibility and all that, talk about why they started the company. Talk about decisions that they have to make, and it's maybe easier for some businesses than others. But there's a lot of people, especially my age, graduating college right now, that yes, the job market's a lot more competitive, but they still want to know they're working for a organization and a leader that's very forward thinking, very progressive. So that might be important for them when they're scouting out companies and whatnot. All the interns that I interviewed for my day job. I interviewed like 60 or 70 I got 60 applicants and I whittled them down. But even with them, they asked very targeted questions about the company's uh, culture and leaders and its placement and all that stuff. So it was very fascinating seeing that. So buckets, keep experimenting with buckets. Themes, I still experiment with themes. The reason I brought up influencer stuff is I'm still playing and testing if the water's right for me to talk about influencer marketing, get more heavily invested in there. So always be experimenting, right, with that. So the second one is specifically content strategies. Again, there's so many. There's so many examples. One of my favorites is what I haven't done it for the last 2 weeks because I've been a little bit on the busy side, but no excuse. I took me a while to find a content series that I wanted. So I experimented with different days and themes and stuff like Wisdom Wednesdays or Tactful Thursdays and stuff like that. And I ended up coming on to hashtag Marketing Monday. And hashtag Marketing Monday has been probably one home run I've hit in my career as a content creator, where simply on Mondays talk about very specific marketing case studies, tips, tricks. I think that was one of the most successful. All my or not most. I would say like a good 70% of my most viral posts have come from those type of content pieces on hashtag Marketing Monday, because I got an audience to realize that Mondays Nico talks about marketing is very tactful stuff there. So that was very, very interesting to me, and I still think that's been one of the most interesting and examples that I've been able to do with experimentation, because I did a lot. I did hashtag Wisdom Wednesday, hashtag Tactical Thursday, hashtag Strategy Saturdays. I did a lot of things, and the Monday one completely just blew up more than I thought, and that's the reason why in my book and We're All Marketers, I do mention that multiple times, because it was so influential. So what's the next steps? Pick something in your marketing strategy that you think can be and should be experimented with. Start there. So whether it's with your website, and I still think a lot of companies should be looking at, I'm running all this traffic to my website, but does my website have a very clear call to action, right? That could be something. And maybe my social strategy, maybe you haven't experimented with video, so you do an animation or you do a video that's post-produced, and there's just multiple ways to go about it. So pick something, test it 3 times, and learn each and every time, refine it, and after the 3rd time, if it doesn't work, perfect. Don't forget about it. Document that, because if you don't document it, there's no, you can repeat the same mistake later. That I don't want you to do. I don't want you to repeat the same mistake, but keep that documented and then try something else. And you run multiple experiments at different times, but you definitely don't have to. So that's just a very, very simple idea. Oh, what's up, Eddie? Oh my goodness, Eddie, if you are still on, let's do something interesting. Eddie, if you're still on, I'm gonna send you a link to hop on live because you are by far one of the most interesting individuals that has experimented and done it successfully over time, um, especially with different platforms. Let's see what you do. We'll see if Eddie. We'll see if Eddie comes in because, frankly, he's a rock star at that. We will see. Okay, so yeah, so pick something. Whether it's a theme, whether it's a piece of content, whether it's a partnership, a collaboration. Um, yes, Eddie, awesome. Check your yeah. Awesome. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Rock and roll with Eddie on here. While we wait for him, let's break this down a little bit more. Yeah, I really just think that most people should be considering a strategy that incorporates collaborations also. That's something I actually that's a good note to make. I need to write that down because right now, especially with COVID still as prevalent as it is, there has never been a better time to collaborate with individuals. Because the truth is, a lot of people are kind of stuck. And number one, there's a lot more time around. But number two, a lot of people are stuck with ideas and what to do, what next steps are. Then, so for instance, this is something I'm doing on LinkedIn. I do a lot of these lives where I bring in guests. One thing I've been noticing a lot more, I'm getting a lot more tactful on who I bring on. Because I want to facilitate relationships for collaborations that happen post the filming. I think in the beginning, I would bring on amazing guests, but without having a clear strategy on how I wanted to collaborate with them in the future. So I bring them on, have this amazing opportunity, have a great conversation with them, and then at the end of the day, I wouldn't leave it with call to action. I would kind of leave it bare bones. So let's see, maybe Eddie got. Let's see. Doing these are always fun. You just never know. Let's see. Let us see what's going on. Yeah, the whole back end of the live stream is definitely a little bit more complex than I personally would have made it. But I mean, there's probably the engineers over there at StreamYard probably had a great idea for this. Let's see. Anyway. So he will be in a second. What else do I? What other valuable tips do I have about experimentation? You know, the thing I keep going back to, especially when I'm talking with clients around experimentation, is the fact that what worked yesterday, especially in this world of such fast and influential, such fast moving parts, is the fact that what happened even relatively quickly. Eddie, you say you're in, but I don't see you. Let's see. Ah, there he is. There he is.
Going
What's up,
on,
brother?
Nico? How are you?
Man, life
I
is
need to
good.
I
Life
need
is
to
good. Every day
pivot.
without COVID is good.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Let me
take your time.
grab the king of the castle chair.
Do it. Hurry
All
up.
right.
Oh, now that's a chair. That is a chair.
Right? This is my grandfather's chair.
You
Pretty cool, huh?
can't beat that quality. I I like the red. I like the
Me
red.
too. It's actually
That's,
red leather.
ooh, look at
Yeah.
you. So there's a reason I brought you on when I saw
Tell
you in
me.
there. Besides besides us just having great friendship is the fact that you have done something that a lot of people in your industry haven't done, which is moved aggressively on social. And I think, and I can attest, a lot of your success comes from experimentation. It's it's something that I've just seen you do. So wanna just have you speak to that for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what it's all about, right? Is test and repeat. And that goes into what your background is, marketing. Is you're going to test, see what works. If it works, continue doing it. But in today's world, you're going to have to pivot just a little bit because things are changing so quickly. So you want to, I'm trying to remember what the phrase was that they were talking about in marketing class back when I was in college. It's basically you take something, if it's working, you need to, and the word is not coming to my
Refine,
brain.
is it add on?
It's terrible. You want to capitalize on what's working when it's working.
Oh,
And
okay,
then
got it.
and then
Uh,
when it's not working as well as it should be or as it was in the past, that's when you pivot and do something new. So that's why I like TikTok. I'm over there doing 3 to 5 posts every single day to see what is working. And then when it does work, that's when I emulate.
I think when I say experimentation, everyone understands it on a very what is it? A very high level approach. But I think a lot of people get scared. It's like, oh, it didn't work. So how do you get over that? You know, okay, it might not have worked. Actually, here, let's do this because you're very game to play. Tell us about
Yeah.
a piece of content that you made that didn't work. Like you had this idea, like this was gonna be a great post, people were gonna love it, and it didn't work.
Oh, one yesterday that absolutely flopped. I thought it was hilarious. There is a company that keeps landing on my page, and
Okay.
I'm a hairy dude, right? So I've got the big beard and I've got chest hair. So I did one yesterday where I showed my chest and I basically spoke out as like, "Hey, I appreciate that you guys are spending a ton of money marketing dollars landing in front of me, but the beard's not going anywhere and the chest hair's not going anywhere." I thought it was hilarious. It did nothing.
Interesting.
Absolutely nothing.
Did you tag the
So
company?
I did.
Oh, interesting.
I did. And you know what? I've landed in front of some really cool companies by tagging them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff that I did on Instagram with their not.
Oh no. Oh, there we go. Wait, hold on. We can't hear
Um,
you. There we go. There we go.
are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
So I did some what not to do videos on Instagram, and Zoom actually reached out to me. And I thought they were going to be upset, but they just the opposite. They're like, "No, keep doing what you're doing. We love it. It's hilarious."
That is that is more people should reach out to brands. Just brands are just like a good marketing team at a good brand. Will
Mhm.
see generated content like yours, and usually they will empower you to do more and or help you do more. I've seen a lot of TikTok is a really good example of this. You've probably seen all the boxes they send out, and they do a lot for their content creators, like more so
Smart.
than I've seen on Facebook or Instagram or in Snapchat.
I
So
think one of my favorite reshares was from a childhood idol of mine, and I did a post and I tagged him in it, and I honestly don't even remember what it is, but I just remembered that he shared it, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe he actually shared it. Emmett Smith. shared one of my posts.
Oh, that's awesome.
I quoted him. That's what it was. I
Hmm.
quoted him in a post, and he shared it. And I was like, "Ah, this is the coolest thing ever."
It's that's I should do a whole. I feel like we can both talk for so long about actually having real conversations with people. It's especially online. But just to stick with the theme today, what's a very low cost way to start testing on LinkedIn, TikTok, on any platform?
So 3 different methods on LinkedIn, right? You can do picture, you can do written word, or you can do video.
Mhm.
So try all of them. See what works best for you and what works best for your audience.
Mhm.
For me, right this second, it's been picture.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
different powerful photos have been doing really well. A couple months ago, video was doing extremely well.
Mhm.
And it ebbs and flows, and it's based on A, your energy, and B, what does your audience need at that particular moment, and who are the people that you're getting in front of?
Just
So
yeah, that's great. I'm sorry to cut you off.
for me, it's just about trying. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not, and I don't think anyone should be embarrassed about trying. I
Oh,
really
absolutely.
don't think so. You get in front of it. If you look on my very early stuff, I was embarrassed. I was shy. I never would have jumped on this originally. A live
Really?
video. Who
Wow.
knows who's watching? But then I started going to Toastmasters. I started practicing, and then you just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And then the next thing you know, here I am with Nico live. And I actually had to run to my room to grab a shirt because I didn't have a shirt.
Oh, that's great. But it's so just to your point on pictures, right? Like I've been taking very good text posts that have been doing really well, taking a quick selfie and putting it on, and they're doing exceptionally better than what they were.
Yeah. And I think that's just the platform and the
Yep,
algorithm doing the thing.
that's it. That's it, my friend. I appreciate you for being on. I'm going to actually end the live here because I want to talk to you. We haven't talked in a couple of weeks, so let's. I'll end it here and we can jump on. But everyone, this is Eddie. I threw in his TikTok and his LinkedIn. Make sure to go check him out. Great individual. Cannot speak more highly of someone who's always experimenting. So make sure to go follow, like, and engage with him. Say hi. Also, his number's there. It's like his number is there. So give him a text or a call. It's always
Everything's there,
answering.
yeah.
So
Yep. Awesome.
awesome,
Thanks for having
awesome.
me on, Nico.
Awesome. Eddie, let's chat for a couple